Section 11-4, we're going to talk about geometric series. And there's two types that we're going to talk about. First off, there's the finite kind. So that would be something like, 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus blah 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 for n equals 8 or something like that. So it ends. It has an ending. The other kind would be infinite. And that would be something like 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus ... And you don't put an n here because it goes on forever and ever and ever. Alright, so we have two formulas to sum these up. For the finite kind, we'll say S sub n, so for this one you put like an 8 for that example, equals a sub 1 times 1 minus r to the n all over 1 minus r. And again, the r is our common ratio, and n is our number of terms. Now for the infinite, we're just going to put s equals, and we'll leave that for a bit here. Let's focus on the finite. We'll fill that formula in a bit. So number one, let's evaluate. In other words, let's find the sum. So let's do 3 plus 6 plus 12 plus 24 plus 48 plus 96. Okay, so this has an end. So obviously this is a finite geometric series. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a sub 6 terms. So we're going to sum up s sub 6 equals a sub 1. A sub 1 is this 3 here. Times 1 minus, alright, now we need to figure out what is our r, what's our common ratio. Again, remember, you can think of it kind of left to right here. What am I multiplying by? And this one's pretty obvious. I'm doubling it, multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2. But if you forget, you can always just go backwards and do 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 1 minus r, our ratio is 2 to the n. And our n is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. All over 1 minus r. And from here, once you got this set up, it's really just kind of making sure you got your arithmetic done right. 3 times, now we're going to do 1 minus, remember exponents come first, 2 to the 6th is 64, over 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. Let's see, again, I guess you could distribute the 3, but we'll simplify the inside part here. 1 minus 64 is negative 63, all over negative 1. A negative over negative makes a positive, so this is going to be a positive. And 3 times 63, well, 3 times 60 is 180, 3 times 3 is 9, so 189 positive, because you have a negative over a negative. Alright, let's try another one here, letter B. Negative 45 plus 135 minus 405 plus 1215 minus 3645. Okay, so again, we're summing up. Let's see, this is a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, a sub 4, this is a sub 5. So just 5 terms here equals, so a sub 1 is our negative 45 times 1 minus, now here we got to be careful a little bit. What is our r? What is our r? Let's divide. 135 divided by negative 45. Let's see, if I was to break this down, this would be 45 times 3, negative 1 times 45, 45, so we get negative 3 is our r. Negative 3 is our r. So be very careful here. Put the negative 3 inside the parentheses. Negative 3 to the nth power, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They give me 5 terms, so there we go. All over 1 minus r. And again, r is not 3, r is negative 3. So put that in parentheses. Okay, so again, let's be careful with this. Negative 45. Again, take care of the exponent first. So 1 minus, what is negative 3 to the 5th power? Negative 3 times negative 3, let's see, negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Well, this is 9. This is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 times negative 3. Well, 80 times 3 is 240. 1 times 3 is 3, so that's 243 with a minus in front, so negative 243. So be very careful. Minus a minus, minus 243, all over 1 plus 3, right? Minus and minus is a plus, so 1 plus 3, we should probably just change that to a 4, but whatever. Okay, finish this up. Negative 45 times 1 plus 243, so 244, all over 1 plus 3, which is 4. You could multiply this out and divide. If we think about this, though, 244 goes into 4. Let's see, negative 45 times, let's see, 244 and 4. Let's see, 240 divided by 4 is 60. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so it's going to go in 61 times. And then we'll just multiply this out, saving us some time. We'll get negative 2,745. Okay, moving on to letter C. Let's say we got 1/3 plus 1/9 plus 1/27 plus 1/81. And you could add these up with common denominators, but let's practice, because obviously sometimes these will get much longer. Like if I said n equals 30, you wouldn't want to just add them up. So we got a sub 1. And a lot of times it's helpful to kind of draw these out, and I haven't been. But a sub 1 is 1/3. Our r, let's see, 1/9 divided by 1/3. 1/9 divided by 1/3, that's the same as 1/9 times the reciprocal, which is 3 over 1. So that's 3/9, which is, if I simplify that down, 1/3. So our r is 1/3. And finally our n, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 4 terms. Okay, so now we are ready to sum these up. Sum of these 4 terms is a sub 1 times 1 minus r to the n, all over 1 minus r. So let's see, s sub 4 equals 1/3 times 1 minus, let's see, what is 1/3 to the 4th? Well, you have 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. That's going to be 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. That's 1 over 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. That's 9 times 9, or 81. All over 1 minus 1/3. 1 minus 1/3. Again, you could just think about this. You have a full tank of gas, you use 1/3, you have 2/3 left. If you can't fully see that, what you could do is shift this to a common denominator like this. And then, so we get 1/3. 3/3 minus 1/3 is 2/3. Okay, let's fill in this inside part here. So again, let's make this 81 over 81. That's an equivalent form of 1. That's the same thing as 1. We're not changing anything there. Minus 1 over 81. Okay, so I've got 1/3 times, let's see, 81 minus 1. That's 80 over 81 divided by 2/3. Now what can I do with these 3's? Now remember, 1/3 divided by 2/3, let me just come over here. 1/3 divided by 2/3 is the same thing as 1/3 times the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2. So we can see that the 3's are just going to become 3 over 3. That's an equivalent form of 1. So really you can just cross off the 3's as an equivalent form of 1. So we are left with 80 over 81 divided by 2. But again, what is 80 over 81 divided by 2? It's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of 2 over 1, which is 1 over 2. And I could multiply this out. I get 80 over 162, but it's easier just to go 80 over 2. That's 40 over 1. So we get 40 over 81. That's our final sum. Moving on to D. Say I've got negative 1/6 plus 1 minus 6 plus 36 minus blah, 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 n equals 5. So let's set this up again. So a sub 1, r, and n. Those are the only 3 things we need. So a sub 1 is negative 1/6. Our r, where we just divide, so 1 divided by negative 1/6. Remember, 1 divided by negative 1/6 is the same as 1 over 1 times the reciprocal of negative 1 over 6, which is negative 6 over 1. So it looks like we are multiplying by negative 6. And that makes sense. Multiply by negative 6. Multiply by negative 6. See how you're flipping the sign there? Our r is a negative 6. And our n, it says over here, is 5. n equals 5. Alright, so now we can just plug into our formula. So sum of these 5 terms is a sub 1 all over 1 minus, r is negative, be very careful, put that in parentheses, r to the n, all over 1 minus r. Okay, so we got this nice one to figure out. So negative 1/6 1 minus, let's see, negative 6 to the fifth. Negative 6 to the fifth. Let's figure out negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6. I think actually I'm going to bust out the calculator for this one. So negative 6 to the fifth. Negative 6 to the fifth power is going to give us minus 7776 all over 1 minus a minus 7, which is 7. So we have negative 1/6, 1 plus 7776 all over 7. Hopefully you can see how this might work out nicely. So 1 plus 7776 is 7777 all over 7. Well, now, since everything is factored, we can just divide here 7777 over 7, so we get negative 1/6 times, we get 1,111. So our sum would be then, you can think of this as multiplying this over 1, so we're going to get negative 1,111 over 6.